Panthers at Jags today. Jags laying 3.5. Jason, I'll let you continue your thoughts from the previous segment. I like the Jags at 3.5. I am out, and it sounds like you are out on them for basically the season. You're not buying into the Jags hype.
I gotta say it to believe it. I mean, again, this is an owner who everybody loves. He's just the best guy. What a cute mustache. He can't win. He can't build a winning culture. He can't hire the right people. So I'm skeptical. The quarterback, I think, is borderline fraudulent. If you want to back him at home, he's 12-17-1 against the spread at home. His last 14 games, he's 5-8-1 against the spread. He's 2-4-1 against the spread his last 7. He don't do it for me. Look, I think Carolina made some strides in the second half of last year. I think Bryce Young showed he can play in the league. He cut down on the turnovers. He cut his sack rate in half. He did win 4 of his last 9 games, which might not sound like much, but I think he won 2 of his first 19. So that's definite improvement. And for our purposes, he was 7-2 against the spread his final 9 games last year. Trevor Lawrence hasn't had a stretch like that. He had one stretch like that in his career. It was the second half. What was it, 2022? That's never looked like this again. There's strong over trends here for me. You know, Carolina's 13-4 to the over last year. We're talking about a Jacksonville team that allowed the most passing yards and had the fewest takeaways in the league last year, and a Carolina defense that was 32nd in what, yards per pass, like damn near 32nd in yards per rush. It's pretty bad. So if you want to go that way, you certainly can. I'm not on any of the Vegas lines. Like I've got some stuff cooking with, Carolina catching 10.5, Carolina to score 14 points, Hubbard 15 scrimmage yards, some things like that. It wouldn't shock me if Bryce Young outplays Trevor Lawrence here, and that doesn't mean that I think Carolina's going to win the game. I just think there's a lot of pressure on Trevor Lawrence, and I think he's prone to cough it up. So I'm on Carolina in some parlay fashions. Again, I'm giving myself a lot of cushion there. Like I'm taking 10 points. If Jacksonville wins by 11, shame on me. I cannot back Trevor Lawrence. I just can't. His completion percentage is bad. He turns the ball over too much. I can't get there, even against a bad defense.
Big picture wise with Jacksonville, I do like them. But that's a process of elimination in that division. Like, you're starting with the Titans. They covered 2 games all last year. Yes, you have upside with Cam Ward, but he can probably only do so much. I don't see it completely turning around with the same coaching staff in one season. Indianapolis Colts. Like, are we serious? I can't wait to talk about this Dolphins-Colts game. All this love for Daniel Jones? Like, oh, now they're so much better because it's not Richardson. It's going to be Daniel Jones moving forward. Get out of here. And so now you're talking about, can the Jaguars compete with the Texans? That Texans defense is lights out. We all understand that. What is that offense going to be? What direction do they go? A ton of the wide receivers end up getting hurt last year. So can the Jaguars kind of be in that conversation with the Texans? I like Cohen. I think Brian Thomas could explode this year a lot. Obviously the connection with Trevor Lawrence, Jason down on him. What is Travis Hunter going to be this year? So, I think there is upside with the Jaguars big picture. As far as this game, I have the Jaguars and Panthers very close. So I can't sit here and tell you that you've got to lay 4 points. That is a lot in the NFL. When we're talking about more than a field goal and 2 teams that are pretty darn close in my world, I can't tell you to lay 4. And that number's been jumping this week. It was 3.5 earlier. Now here on Sunday morning, we're at 4. I can't get there. Yeah, Bryce Young could absolutely outplay him. Keep in mind what Bryce Young was doing in the second half last year after he was benched. Dalton gets in the car crash. Bryce Young makes his return to the field, and he was really good for about a month and a half. Panthers ascending up. How much? Not sure. No way am I laying 4 with Jacksonville. This is one I'm on the sideline. I want to sit back and watch. I'm not quite sure what we have in either team, even though I think there's a real case where both of them could be significantly better than what they were last year.
Real quick, the kind of thing that gives me pause with the Jags long term is this Hunter situation, though. He was the best playmaking DB in the draft, and he was maybe the 5th, 6th, 8th best wide receiver, depending on who you talk to. And it's not a generational wide receiver draft. Where are they playing? They've come out and told you. Where are they playing them the most?
Wide receiver.
Because the coach is McVay wannabe. Stuff like that, you're telling me that they've changed their spots or they figured it out. I'm like, and your defense was worse than your offense. And I'm not saying your offense was good, but your defense was abject failure. And this is a guy who I'm not an evaluator. People I talk to in the league say that could be the best player on their defense. And he's subjugated to try to to try to save Trevor Lawrence. People have been trying to save for 5 years. Good luck with that.
Yeah. You would go the opposite route, right? Like, let's focus on defense and sprinkle in on offense. Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Travis Hunter's receiving prop today sitting around 48.5. Ted McMillan, the rookie receiver for the Panthers. He's someone to keep an eye on throughout the year. I've heard a lot of people throw his name around for offensive rookie of the year. 66.5, his receiving prop today.
Over 5.5 touchdowns for the season. Get on that now before it changes, because he probably will score one today. Right? Over 5.5 touchdowns for the season on Ted.